Zach, cause he done ran, dog. Saquon against the Rams, dog. I do this for my grams, dog. Protecting my fam, dog. Keep 100 grand, dog. It's part of the plan, dog. Japanese language, that's why I do not understand, y'all. If I don't lose no toes, I promise I'ma always stand tall. Do not understand, y'all. If I don't lose no toes, I promise I'ma always stand tall. Vibes.
What's going on, y'all? We back. We back, man. It's Uppercut Podcast. It's me, your boy Rel. Got my man Scoop in the cut. How you feeling today, man, on this lovely Friday?
Feeling good, bro. Get to talk some boxing, bro. It's a lot of hype going on right now, honestly. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man, we got a big episode coming up today, and make sure you follow us on all platforms. We're dropping clips on X, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. And yeah, like I said, we'll be dropping more videos as well today as well. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. But we got to talk about what happened this weekend, man. I made a previous video last week, kind of ramping myself up for the Thurman versus Fundora fight. And man, that's my reaction, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could say I seen something a little different. You know, I didn't think the fight would go exactly how it did, but dude, Fundora for the most part took care of Keith, kept him on the outside of his ones and his twos. Never let Keith really land anything significant. He landed he landed a few good shots, but nothing that deterred Fundora. With that being said, Fundora got a 6-round stoppage. Before we even get into the in depth of the fight, do you think it was a good stoppage? Because Keith has been debating, I think, I'm a world class fighter. I've been fighting I've been fighting a long time at the top. Like, why am I not getting the benefit of the doubt? Why, you feel me? Can you wait till I'm out on my feet? Like, that's what Keith was basically saying. So what do you think? Should he have been stopped, or the ref stopped it,
Yeah.
or you think what do you
I
think?
don't I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad stoppage. The ref, as a ref, your job in there to do is protect the fighters when they can't protect themselves. You know what I'm saying? So if he felt like if he felt like he had to stop it, you got to just, go with that. It was a lot of bad stoppages on the card, though. I think it was one or two before that. It was like, I don't know who the guy that was fighting. It was a little crazy stoppage, though. I was like, that was crazy. Like, that's a stoppage. But this, at the end of the day, this is the top level, man. This is the highest of the highs. 154 is one of the premier, divisions in boxing. And Sebastian Fundora is a dangerous fighter, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, and Keith is he's an old man right now. He's 37 years. That's old. 37 is old in the boxing game. So, if the ref feel like that was a good stoppage, I'm all for it. He was bloodied up a little bit. Um, he was showing life on his feet though, just with the feet, but face was just busted up, bro. So I'm not mad at the stoppage, and I want to see Keith back in the ring. I felt as though if that fight would have went a little bit longer, this probably would have been one of Keith's last rodeos. But I do feel like since the fight was stopped a little bit early, we get to see Keith in another fight, hopefully in the future. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Keith again, yo. I hope he doesn't feel too discouraged from this fight. I think he just went against, arguably the top guy at 154, and some
Yeah.
people are even making a case could be a top 10 pound for pound fighter. Beating Tim Zhu twice, which was the champion at the time. And, now you got Keith Thurman to add to that resume. Has some good fights previously. Like, he's starting to make a real case, especially the way he's been dominant over his last 3 fights. I want to see Keith back. I think so. This was only his 9th fight over the past like 10, 11 years, which is kind of crazy when you think about it like that. But I kind of see it as, okay, Keith, you ain't take that much damage. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Throughout the years, like, I thought going into the fight he was gonna be like a young 37, and to me he still looked like he may not be as fast, but he's
Yeah.
still 90% of the
Yeah.
athlete what he used to be. Like, he still has some good movements. Fundora, he had to go track him down. Keith was still moving, making great side steps and trying to open up opportunities for him. So
Yeah.
I think against a 6'6" fighter, it's completely hard to start swinging up. You're not really used to doing that. But I
Yeah.
think against another guy, Keith Thurman could still look good and still could pick up a few wins. I definitely think Keith shouldn't retire and go out like this. You don't want to go out like this. You know, your legacy for your Hall of Fame, for your namesake. I
Yeah.
think he should fight again and try to
Yeah.
put some better tape on film.
It's a different ending to his story, man. It can't end like that, you know. Um, but I will say though, you gotta tip your hats, to a Keith Thurman, man. Bro been wanting this fight for a while, bro. Actually, he wound up getting hurt the first time around. Then Sebastian got hurt, and he still wound up fighting this guy. Like, so much stuff could have told him, no, don't take this fight. After this long ass layoff that he did, you gotta tip your hat to Keith Thurman. Bro's 5'8" going against a guy that's 6'6". A lot of people don't understand, how hard that is. A lot of people don't box. A lot of people is casuals. That's a big jump, bro. Roberto Duran was like what 5'6", 5'8", and was able to go up to light heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand how hard that shit is. Being that little, fighting these guys that is this big. So I don't think this loss even blemishes keeps his Hall of Fame, first ballot stuff. I think that if he gets a couple good more fights, I think it's solidified. But if you get a couple more fights and and win, I think it's cool. I think he beats some of these top guys. Honestly, I just think Sebastian is just a puzzle that certain people, you need a certain specific type fighter to beat. The guy has an 80-inch reach, gang. He has an 80-inch reach. You try to go to the right, he has a hand out there that's 80 inches, cutting you right off to go that way. So he could force you to go which way you want to go just by his reach. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I don't think Keith Thurman should feel bad at all, gang. I think this was just one of them fights. It's a tough fight against a young lion, against an old lion. And sometimes you got them young lions that push through and win. So, you know, um, all my hats is tipped to Keith, bro. He's a dog for that.
Yeah, man, that's a good segue, So, do we think Keith Thurman is a Hall of Famer if he retired today? I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna say the only reason that you wouldn't say it is literally because the inactivity. I think if you look at some of his accomplishments, taking Manny Pacquiao to the wire, Manny knocked him down early, but Keith came all the way back. I think Keith easily won 5 to 6 rounds in that fight, but with Manny's
Yeah,
knockdown, he kind of got the slight edge. I think he put a real good performance against Manny. Um, he beat Sean Porter in his absolute prime, beat Danny Garcia in his absolute prime, took their titles. You know what I'm saying? Like he's accomplished a
yeah,
lot. Beat Robert Guerrero, who was solid for his time. Like he
yeah,
has some accomplishments. He also beat Mario Barrios, who going on to have a pretty good career for what it's worth. So he has some good names on his belt. I think like it's the inactivity. Like if he would have like just 40
yeah,
fights in total, I think he would be a Hall of Famer. I think if
yeah,
he can go on to fight at least 2, 3 more times, that solidifies a spot. I think he can still get in, but he's not a first ballot for sure. But like I think he needs 1 to 2 more fights to solidify his Hall of Fame spot.
yeah. I think to answer your question, I think he's on the brink of that. I think this win, although it may have pushed him back, it's showing people that he's willing to get in there with these top guys. So I don't think we'll have a problem with Keith getting back in the ring, fighting a top guy. He's always fought top guys. Ever since he reached that level, he's been in there with top guys. Besides, the Brock Davis fight, whatever that guy
Brock
was.
Jarvis.
Yeah, that was just to get your feet wet. It's been some time. Uh, Keith is a dog, bro. I think he's gonna make the Hall of Fame. I think the one fight that he needs, to be real with you, is that Errol Spence fight. I think you beat Errol Spence. I think you solidify it. You
Oh
got to
yeah.
think about it. You got to think about it. Danny, Sean Porter, Errol Spence. That's like three of like the top five guys of that era. We can't see Terrence. He's retired, but those three guys, you get a win over those three guys, you got to be solidified because those were the premier guys from the era. So if you beat
100%.
Errol Spence, you beat Errol Spence, you beat a Sean Porter, and you beat a Danny Garcia. Who could take anything from you? You know what I'm
I
saying? And
wouldn't
I feel
mind
like
him.
no, go
Excuse
ahead, go
me.
ahead.
My bad. Nah, I wouldn't mind him fighting that Cuban as well. Uh,
Um, I know you
he
talking
fought.
about.
He Spence beat him. Then he beat Pacquiao.
I know you talking
Uh,
about. It's not.
he
It's not.
fought. Freak. What's his name?
I
I
know
feel
you
like
talking about.
that was a good fighter throughout the 147 time. You had it was a few different guys who like gave people problems. Like we didn't get to see Kiefer Sakel Brook. It's a few names that we could have seen throughout that era from that Keith didn't fight because of his
You talking about.
inactivity.
You talking about Ugas. Talking about
Yeah,
Ugas.
Ugas. Ugas would be a good win. I think Ugas is a
Yeah.
good fighter. You
I
know,
think he
you
beats
can't.
Ugas.
And if he does that, he's a Hall of Famer. You beat the guy who beat you. You
Yeah.
beat the guy
Yeah.
who beat the guy who beat you.
True. Yeah.
You
That
feel me?
shows that you're nice. Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, before we wrap this episode up, we gotta talk about Fundora, man. So,
Yeah.
with this fight right here, man, bro, is he the top guy at 154?
Man, to be 100% real with you, bro. We got a tight race right now. Like it's really tighter than a lot of you feel me. Like than people is thinking. You got Fundora. He's fighting all the top guys. You got Xander, unified champ. You got Boots just came to the division, taking it by storms, but to fight Xander. We got who else we got there? We got
Virgil came in.
Virgil
Virgil,
Ortiz. He's just battling a bunch of legal issues, so we can't really see him in the ring right now, but he's one of the most dangerous guys at 154. Bro, this is literally the premier division. If I was gonna have to say who is the best fighter at 154 as of right now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big Boots fan. You know me, bro. I'm a very big Boots fan. I gotta go Fundora is number one right now. I agree. I only think I don't think that he's number one based off skills. I think he's number one based off. It's gonna be a hard fight when you fight this guy, bro. Like
yeah,
he reminds me of like Emmanuel Navarte. Like you fight him, you got a tough fight. Like you ain't gonna have no easy fight, gang. Like this
Navarrete,
is
yeah.
this is not an easy fight, gang. Like when you training and you going through training camp, you know how it is getting ready for these fights. You gotta really go to a place when you gotta fight Fundora, gang. Like it's gonna be a war, gang. Like literally, not only like is Fundora a tall, he's a dog. Like people don't remember when he fought Timzu his first time, his nose was broke. Okay, yeah, he had the big cut and it was getting in his eyes. His nose was broke from round two to round. People don't understand how this shit feel when you in there, gang. Imagine getting your nose touched for 10 more rounds after it's already broke. That shit hurt, gang. Like people forget this guy is a dog. So I feel like with that dog and that size and that reach, and just his relentlessness. He's a pressure fighter to be 6'6". It's crazy. He'll be in the inside with you at this tremendous height. He'll be throwing uppercuts from his fucking waist. And that shit is low key at your ankles because you're only like 5'10". You know what I'm saying? Like this shit is crazy. I feel like he's the best guy at this division. And in a close two spot, I would put Boots, and at three, I would go Virgil. That would be my top three. As of right now, things can change. We're gonna get into the next episode because we do have Boots versus Xander, so we're gonna get into that. But as of right now, I gotta go Fundora, I gotta go Boots, and then I gotta go Virgil. That's my top three right now in the 154 division.
For me, if we're going off of, you know, yeah, like you said, just skill, I do think there are just really one question mark with Fundora, maybe two. But what you can't lie about Fundora is from early in his career to now, he's become way better. You know,
For sure.
he still loves to get into wars, but he's better now at keeping guys on the outside and not allowing him to
Yeah.
get touched as much. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Against Tim Zoo the second time, he made Tim Zoo look like a boy. Like I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah.
man, he quit on his stool. He just stopped Thurman, just keeping him on the outside. Even the fight before Tim Zoo, I forget the dude name, not a big name, but these last three
Are you
fights,
talking about Booker, the guy Booker? Yeah, I know you're talking about.
he's just getting better at keeping guys on the outside and
Yeah.
keeping his defense a little better. I think like he's gotten better, bro, and the skills is up there to talk to the other two. I think if you go on a resume, I think Boots' resume is lacking a tad when it comes to the top with the 154 pounders. You know, at 147, he fought a Stanionis who's solid, but like, you know, that's probably his best win so far. And since then it's been like, guys. You know what I'm saying? So I think Virgil has fought better guys than Boots. I think Fundora has fought better guys than Boots. And listen, Josh Kelly is solid too. Like, I know we're not really talking about him.
Yeah.
He's
He
solid.
beat the boogeyman. He beat the boogeyman, gang.
It's 154 is there. It's some solid names. So right now, I think the winner, for me personally, the winner, we're gonna get into it in the next episode. Like I said, the winner of Boots versus Xander is number one, but Fundora is 1A, 1B. Like, whoever wins that is 1A, 1B with Fundora, if that makes sense. Because whoever wins this Xander fight is gonna be a unified champ and beat one of the best
One of the
young
top
guys.
guys, both top guys going at each other. Yeah.
So whoever wins that fight and Fundora is 1A, 1B for me.
Yeah, and that's also the first biggest fight at 154. We got to take into consideration, like Keith versus Fundora was a big fight. They did good on the promotion side, but it got canceled 3 times, gang. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wound up getting it got I mean 2 times. It got canceled 2 times before we could even get the fight. So it kind of like rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, thinking like, oh, this fight might not be that. We got this injury and this injury. A lot of people might write it off, but this, the Xander versus Boots is the first time we get real dogs at 154 fighting each other. So definitely excited for that. It's definitely I feel like I agree with that statement. That is gonna dictate who is the top dog. But right now I gotta go Fundora, bro. That's my pick, man. I think this guy is a dangerous guy. I love watching this guy fight as well. Um, I think that we're not gonna get a lot of fights out of Fundora as well. Forgot to throw that in there. Bro said he wants to hang it up pretty soon. He's a Harvard student.
Yeah.
This guy's trying to get his degree and stuff. But yeah, exciting all action packed fighter. I enjoy watching the fight. Shout out to Sebastian Fundora. Shout out to his sister too. She's a dog.
Pound for pound woman fighter.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to see him in the future. Definitely want to see how this 154 division just plays out in the end. Uh, but yeah, shout out to Fundora, man. Beautiful performance.
Yeah,
Beautiful
man, he did
performance.
his thing. He's a super fan friendly fighter. And he's a creative player, to be honest. He's
Yeah.
6'6", fighting at 154. Like, I play undisputed. I hate when I go against creative players. I be fighting at lightweight. The dudes be 6'4". This is like
Right,
literally a
yo.
but
Nah, facts though.
all in all, yeah, definitely shout out to Fundora. Can't wait to see what he does next. Can't wait to see what he does, and can't wait to see what Keith does as well. You know, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna be posting more videos. Make sure you're checking out our Instagram, on X, on TikTok. We're dropping content over there as well. Any last words, Scoop, before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Stay tuned for our next drop. We got a bunch of vids coming out soon. We know we ain't been as consistent as we was supposed to be, but we do got a lot of bangers dropping. So stay tuned. Turn the post notifications on. And yeah, till next time, we're gonna catch y'all.
Yes, sir, and we're out.